Let's take a few minutes now to calculate the slope, the distance, and the midpoint between any 2 points on a graph. And I have a graph here. It shows 2 points, 4, 3, and negative 2, 1, and we'll calculate those 3 measurements. I like to visualize first a right triangle. So I'm going to draw a right triangle that's formed by these 2 points. So I'm going to move horizontally and then vertically. And you can count spaces to get those lengths, but you can also use the coordinates, and that's what I'm going to do. So that horizontal length right here is the difference in the x's. 4 take away negative 2 is 6. And then the vertical distance here is the difference in the y coordinates. 3 take away 1 is 2. So our rise over run is 2 over 6, which is 2/6 or 1/3. Over here I've shown the calculation using the coordinates without having to count spaces on the graph. And you can see this is the difference in the y's, y2 minus y1. And this is the difference in the x's, x2 minus x1. Now we can use these same calculations to get the distance between the 2 points. The distance between the 2 points is the hypotenuse of this right triangle, so we'll just use the Pythagorean theorem. We're going to do 6 squared plus 2 squared and then square root the result. And I've shown that work over here. 6 squared plus 2 squared square rooted is the square root of 40. And you know that 40 is 4 times 10. And we can take the 4 out of the square root symbol and it becomes a 2, and the 10 stays in. So the simplified answer is 2 the square root of 10. And then finally, we can get the midpoint. And the midpoint involves averaging the x's and averaging the y's. And if you average the x coordinates, negative 2 and 4 becomes 2, and 2 over 2 is 1. And then if you average the y's, 1 and 3 becomes 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So the point 1, 2 is the midpoint. And you can see if we plot the point 1, 2, it indeed looks like the midpoint. We can generalize our work to calculate the slope, distance, and midpoint between any 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2. And if you draw a right triangle, it will have 2 legs, and the horizontal leg will be the difference in the x's, x2 minus x1, and the vertical leg will be the difference in the y's, y2 minus y1. So to get slope, which is just rise over run, we're going to take the difference in the y's, y2 minus y1, and divide by the difference in the x's, x2 minus x1. And one note here, if you switch the order up top and do y1 minus y2 instead, you have to switch the bottom. You want to be consistent with your 1's and 2's. Okay, let's get the distance now. We can take those same 2 values, those same 2 lengths of those legs, and run them through the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to take the horizontal length and square it, the vertical length and square it, add the results, and then square root that final result. And that's the distance, an application of the Pythagorean theorem. And then finally, to get the midpoint, we're going to average our x's. So we're going to do x1 plus x2 over 2, and we're going to average our y's, y1 plus y2 over 2. And those are the coordinates of the midpoint. And that's it.